This is your captain speaking. Welcome on board. Flight 4B7 from Moscow to San Francisco. We are currently third in line for takeoff and are expected to be in the air in approximately 7 minutes.
It was time to take off, leaving a big part of history behind. A new start and a new journey. New ideas, hopes, and aspirations. It was Victor's dream to move from Russia to the United States. He was feeling hopeful for a better future, yet a little bit doubtful. There was a lingering thought that kept his mind busy.
What if I don't find her?
I noticed that there's a pervasive theme in which doubt develops. The moment you ask yourself, what if, is a moment where you can either build faith or build doubt. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." It took me 5 years to understand this statement. A quote I read one day and I let it slip away. I did not understand the true essence of this powerful statement. We, as human beings, need a reason in life, a meaning beyond the scope of life and death. Thinking about what will happen after we depart from this world, we tend to ask ourselves, why are we in this world to begin with, if we are destined to leave this world insignificantly? A question that has long been hanging in a silent echo chamber. What is the reason behind our mere existence? When we ask a question, we do so because we want to turn uncertainty, ambivalence, or ambiguity into a logical, structural answer. Victor asked himself, for the sake of turning ambiguity to clarity, and we all do. But what happens when you don't find an answer? A more complexly emphasized question is, what happens when there is an infinite number of answers? Well, we fall into the void of uncertainty. One of the fundamental human needs rests upon certainty. Hofstede's cross-cultural dimensions theory scrutinizes the dimensional impact of uncertainty avoidance as a crucially displayed cultural mechanism that predicates society's contrivance. Ask yourself, what happens when you are uncertain, and how do you feel? Often you feel anxious, nervous, unhappy, agitated. The list goes on and on, mostly including negative emotions. Now, of course, based on our human nature, we feel discomfort, and this discomfort would push us to try and find answers. While striving to answer the question, you'll find a response, more uncertainty, or only silence. When silence remains, actions will become useless. It would be pernicious to dwell upon a question that you, as a human being, cannot answer, at least to the extent of our belief. When we always think about the meaning of life and repetitively ask ourselves, what is the reason behind our existence, do we ever pause for a second to ask ourselves, why do we need meaning in life in the first place? Take a moment and try to answer this question yourself. You are here, you exist, you breathe, you live, and you will die. What change will it make if you know the reason behind your existence or not? You'll be happy? What if the reason behind your existence is to suffer so others can experience joy? Would you still want to know your why, or would you prefer not to know your why and live life the way you want it? You can look at it differently, however. What if you're going through the suffering of hard work, commitment, dealing with problems and searching for answers, and creating solutions? so you can one day change the lives of millions of people and bring them joy and serenity? What if your true essence resides a few years away from you, and you have to suffer from a delicate process, a beautiful art that can take you from where you are to where your true essence resides? And you may also look at suffering from two different sides. One side comes from a behavioral standpoint. Human beings tend to avoid pain and embrace pleasure. Another side comes from a logotherapeutical standpoint. Without suffering, we would not know what joy is. And if the pain disappears, so does the joy. And you create that joy through meaning. Why did Nietzsche say there are no facts and only interpretations? Can it be that all the answers we got through our existence were interpretations and not facts? And how many times have you heard about a scientific breakthrough that broke previous belief?
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be landing in San Francisco at 7:29 p.m.
The crackling noise of the announcement disturbs Victor's peace, as he was thoroughly reading a story. He needed something to keep his mind busy and picked up a sports magazine. In the magazine, there is one story in particular that created an everlasting spark in Victor's heart. On the 5th of May 1954, a firm belief got shattered by the purpose of this man, Roger Bannister. Before this specific date, history did not believe that a person could run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But a young man with a big heart ran a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds, changing the past and future. More than 1,000 athletes has now run a mile in less than 4 minutes. One person, one heart, led to this historical streak. Now Roger Bannister changed the past and the future, and you believe that a person can run a mile in less than 4 minutes. His faith, his creative mind, his cognitive synchrony found a way to achieve what he believed. Asking life, what is the meaning behind our existence, is asking a universal cosmic question, a question of infinite but indefinite complexity. Why? Because every person's interpretation can be different. And when we have an infinite number of arguments as potential answers, we tend to be startled. What if the analysis you followed turned out to be just another aberration? What if he spent his entire life trying to run a mile in less than 4 minutes and he was never able to achieve it? Roger Bannister created his future through belief. This belief found a way to make this illusion a reality. He saw himself in that arena. He saw himself on the cover of newspapers as the person who wrote history long before he did it. He had belief. This story created a spark of imagination, leading Victor to a big question that we all thought about at one point in time. The first step towards understanding your meaning in life is to understand belief. Victor was startled and he thought to himself, this man had a purpose in life, but how did he find this purpose? Now you need to understand something about Victor. An introvert explorer with no compass, self-esteem turmoil, throwing episodes of motivation and hope in life. But then self-defeat, bewilderment, throwing splashes of doubtful episodes. It is a very confusing spot in life when you fall asleep one night thinking about rainbows and fucking butterflies, and waking up the next morning thinking about hell rather than heaven.
He had a belief that got him out of bed every morning, but why do I get out of bed every morning? Why do I even exist in the first place?
The meaning of life is to be happy is an answer that Victor hears quite often. Yet again, he looks at whoever gave him the answer, and they are nowhere near the state of happiness. If they know the answer, why are they still empty? The reason is oftentimes uncertainty. They get over the repercussion of emptiness by adopting happiness as a way to go. Happiness is not joy, and let that sink in. You can create happiness right now. Place your hand on your heart and feel your heartbeat. Breathe and think about a happy place or a memory and feel it. At that moment, you created happiness. You changed the chemical flow in your brain and your body. Your heart started to beat faster and you got excited. You felt rejuvenated simply because your brain cannot distinguish between what's an illusion and what's real, what's imaginative and what's observable. But then you open your eyes half an hour later and you start thinking about past and future problems, and you begin to lose this happiness, bit by bit, until you hit a brick wall again and snap out of it. All the memories, feelings, and thoughts threw Victor into a disrupted emotional state. Whenever Victor thought about her, he felt happy, but he never experienced joy. She taught Victor that happiness is not joy.